Hello, Cheapskaters. I'm Kath Armstrong, creator of the Cheapskates Club, where our goal is to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. Welcome to our show tonight. If this is your first time visiting, I'm really glad you found us. I'm glad you've come to watch and join in, or I hope you'll join in. And if it's not, welcome back. Live chat is enabled tonight, so please feel free to join in, ask your questions. If you ask a question, if you could put it in capitals, that would really help me find it. And Delaney is our moderator, so please be kind and keep comments respectful so she has an easy evening. Now, before we get started, I'm going to switch things up a bit with the live shows. After last week, I was asked if I could just keep the conversation going when everyone is talking and sharing, rather than me suddenly saying, oh my goodness, it's 9 o'clock. We have to go. I've gone over again. So I've thought about it, nutted it out, pondered it, whatever. I know some of you don't like the super long shows, and that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I'm happy to have you watch what you can. And I know some of you like to keep the conversation going, or would like to keep the conversation going when it's, moving along quite happily. So going forward, I'll do my best to get the show topic done in the hour. And then if anyone wants to keep the conversation going, we will. Sometimes the topic we're talking about, it just has to be hashed out, and questions have to be asked and answered. Ideas have to be shared. So I think this is the solution that's going to suit almost everyone. I can't please everybody. So what do you think? I'm happy to stay on as long as you are all happy. Think about it. Let me know in the comments. We'll see how tonight goes. Now I've done that, how has your week been? We've been busy in the garden. I picked a humongous head of broccoli for our dinner the other day. It was so big we actually had 3 meals from it. It was just delicious, so good. Now, this is the broccoli I was talking to some of you about a few weeks ago. I was just going to pull it out because it wasn't doing anything. It hadn't formed heads. It was just leaves. I'm glad I didn't. I'm so glad I didn't. Turns out I was just impatient, or the broccoli was a bit slow because now it's growing beautifully. I have 2 more heads ready to pick, harvest and bring in, and another couple that will be ready in a couple of weeks. Oh, I'm so excited about this. The other thing I did was planted out more tomatoes and more beetroot. I just have to tell you, and if you've got kids or grandkids, or you've been a kid, or little ones around you, nieces, nephews, whatever, you'll get this. Now, picture it. Just picture it. Number one son and Hannah in the kitchen as I was plating up a salad for dinner. And there I am working away, putting things on the plates, yada, 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 and they're just talking in the background. And Hannah says to number one son, did you know there's a worldwide shortage of beetroot? And he looked at her, and I'm still just plating up the salad, doing whatever I was doing. And he comes back, quick as a wink, straight as a die. He goes, have you looked around the corner? No wonder there's a worldwide shortage of beetroot. Mum's got it all on the bottom shelf. Well, hey, at least they're aware of the stockpile, aren't they? And what's in it. They know the pantry's full, even if it is full of beetroot. It's not really full of beetroot. But that's a good thing because, if our money runs out, we'll still be able to eat. Anyway, let's see who's here and who's not here. Let me go up here. Oh, gosh, we've got 41 comments already, 63 people watching. That's just lovely. Let me push this little doobie up here. Estelle was first, and she's got an essay to submit for uni. Hope you get a good grade. Hello, Yvonne. Hello, Beverly. Hello, Tegan. Hello, Utah. Wild Woman. I'll wave back at you. Amanda. Oh, yes, I meant to put out another thing about daylight saving. I put it on the Facebook on our Cheapskates chatter, the different time zones for everybody. It's very confusing sometimes. Hello, Greg Evans. Hi, Barb. How you going? Gloria and Mary, Mrs. Dilligaff. She remembered about the daylight savings time. Delaney will be back in a minute. Hello, Cheryl. Hi, Maureen. Hello, Kathleen. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Emma. Hello, Evelyn and Colleen. Coralie, Miss Aussie Thunder. Hello, Jane. Caught you out. Honestly, I forgot to get tea on last night, Monday night. I was just busy pottering around doing what I do. And I'm thinking, oh, it's been a long day. It's been a really long day. And I looked and I went, oh, it's 5:45 already. Anyway, daylight savings caught me too. Hello, Jenny. Tegan loves the long lives. That's good. Okay. Do you think the week's gone fast? It feels like it should be a Thursday or a Friday to me. It's only Tuesday. It's been really weird. Miss Aussie Thunder's been going through some of the older shows. Some of them are good. Some of them are hilarious. Hello, Joy. Hi, Annabelle. Hello, Aradia. Beautiful inspirations. Isn't that nice? Amy, Beverly. We do have lots of new viewers. I'm really pleased. If this is your first time, let us know so that we can welcome you. Because we're a very friendly bunch. Hello, Leonie. Yeah, petrol prices keep going up. Everybody's money will run out, won't it? Ooh. Beautiful Inspirations has some enormous zucchinis in the garden. Yay. I never used to let the zucchinis grow too big. I sort of like them, probably 8 inches, 20 centimeters or so. It's nice and little, then still tender until one day, you go out one day and you think, oh, it's only 2 inches. We'll leave it till tomorrow. Well, tomorrow was like 3 or 4 days later, and it was a whopper. They are fabulous. They are fabulous to grate and use for pickle. Don't use your little zucchinis for pickle. Use your big ones. They are brilliant for pickle. Oh, no, a bandicoot got you, cat. I would have cried. Oh, no. I would have cried. I've been known to stand in the garden and cry. But at least you made sauerkraut out of destroyed cabbage. Make lemonade out of lemons. You made sauerkraut out of salvaged cabbage. Good on you. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, that's good to know, Estelle. Hello, Keith. Oops. Oh, there's lots of people here. Margaret's first time welcome. Now, gosh, comments are coming in faster. $9.50. Tea is on special for $9.50. Let me just. Okay. May I ask what brand? Because you all know that I like Twinings extra strong. Has to be extra strong. It was $6.75 at Coles last week because I got 4 boxes because I really need it. Wow, that is a special price. That better not be half price. If it is, I could retire on what I've got in my stash. I could sell it on the black market and retire on what I've got in my stash. Goodness. Stuffed marrow, yes, Joy, yes. Could be bush rats, might be possums, and depending on where you are, it could be flying foxes or fruit bats. We have all 3, 4 here, plus the birds. So I have a running battle with the possums, but my solar lights, guys who follow the journey of the solar lights, they work brilliantly, absolutely work brilliantly. Petrol at $2.37.9. It's been higher than that here. Twinings, yowch. Okay, thanks, Tegan. Catherine's in New Zealand. She wants to know what a bandicoot is. What do you have that's the equivalent of a bandicoot? It's a little burrowing, pesky animal. Proper strong, extra strong. Is that the Yorkshire tea? Joy buys the Yorkshire tea. I have some of that. I'm saving for when the Twinings runs out. I'm planning ahead. I just like strong tea. If I'm not drinking as much coffee, and I used to have really strong coffee, I have to have strong tea. It's got to have flavour. Hi, Selena. $2.60 in Jimbooma. Ooh, yeah. Although, we see that now, and I'm guessing that because we're in cities and further south, those prices sort of scare us. But on our very first trip to Cape York, unleaded petrol in Bamaga was $2.63 a litre. And we didn't blink. I hate to think what it is up there. I know it's well over $3 because I was watching a thing the other day. But we didn't blink. Firstly, because we knew it was remote, so we would be paying more. But I don't think we were paying $2 a litre here in Melbourne at that time. It was a lot of, and considering that our patrol takes 220 litres, it's a huge expense. $2.19 where Colleen is. 1.8 kilos. That'll last you a while, Joy. Cool. $1.95 in Adelaide. Yeah, I thought I saw Twinings at $6.75 at Coles last week. King Charles drinks Darjeeling. Well, lucky King Charles. $1.96.9 in Geelong. And better, the Yorkshire tea is better than Twinings. Good. Something to look forward to then. Cape York is over $3 a litre, Estelle. I actually was working out our budget for our trip next year so that I don't have a heart attack. Amanda buys a tea in bulk from McIver's in Melbourne, has it shipped to Queensland. Cool. $1.99.9, that is excellent. Yeah, I've got all sorts of things on my phone. All right. We'll run over again because it's already 7:44. Sorry, guys. Let me get started and get this going. I want to talk about what do you do when the money runs out. We've talked about cashless society, and we've talked about, what do you do when you're financially sinking? But that sort of means you've still got some money coming in. What do you do when there is no money? The money has run out. Well, we'll still be able to eat. Most of you will still be able to eat for a while because you've got a pantry that's full full of ingredients that give you options and a buffer of time so that you can figure out how to earn more money. And if you can do that, that's great, because that's something we didn't have when disaster struck. We didn't have that buffer of time. And it was frightening. It was very frightening. I was scared because the mortgage still had to be paid. The bills were still coming in. They still had to be paid. The children still had to have food. I can tell you what we did, and I can tell you how we did it to survive without money for almost 4 years. I'm not suggesting that it would be... I'm not telling you to do the same things if you're in a similar situation or find yourself in a similar situation, but I'm hoping that by hearing what we did might inspire you, or at least encourage you, give you some ideas so that you can get through it too. Because we survived without money, or we survived on about 20% of our previous income for 4 years, 4 very long years. Very, very long years. We sometimes went weeks with no money coming in. Now, if you're new and you don't know about that time in our lives, I've put a link below to the disaster story. I've gone over it on YouTube before, and you don't need me to do it again tonight, but that will give you some background. And I bet, I had a bit of a chuckle, especially after last week's show on Friday afternoon when I got the news flash that, ANZ Bank had a major fail, or as they call it, a software outage, and their customers couldn't access their accounts. They couldn't use their cards. The stores who use ANZ for processing couldn't do any transactions. ATMs were down. Even the banks, if you were lucky enough to be able to go into a bank, if you weren't in Victoria, it was a public holiday here, they couldn't help you. Tellers couldn't help you. There was nothing they could do. Those people suddenly found themselves without money. Their money had run out. Now, if they didn't have any cash on them, they're up the creek without a paddle, guys. Those folks hit the cashless society with a bang. And I'm pretty sure for some of them, it was a terrifying wake-up call. And if it wasn't, it should have been. And even more, it should have been a terrifying wake-up call for all our banks and for our federal government about what would happen if that was across the board. If not one Australian could access the money in their bank accounts, what would happen? It would be anarchy. It would be rioting in the streets. Now, I know it wasn't a wake-up call for the banks or the governments, because frankly, I think unless it hurts each of them absolutely personally, and I mean in their own bank accounts, I don't think it's a problem. It's just a little glitch. It was a software malfunction. Don't panic. So when our money, or rather our source for making money, ran out, we did what we do now. Because in those days, we had some savings, but we didn't have an emergency fund. We didn't really have a lot to fall back on. So the first thing we did was stop spending on absolutely anything, even food. I did not go grocery shopping that day. The second thing we did was get a balance on our bank accounts so that we knew exactly how much money we had. We had no idea how long it would have to last us, and we never for 1 minute dreamt it would be 4 years. But without knowing to the cent what we had, we couldn't plan. So knowing what we had gave us a sense of security And that allowed us to take a breath again, keep breathing, so that we could move forward. It wasn't a pleasant time at all, and it wouldn't be for anyone. When your money runs out, it is scary. The third thing we did was very quickly on that Friday evening, gather all our bills. We got everything from the power bill to the phone bill, even to the milkman bill. Because yes, in those days we had a milkman. It was really good. I loved it. And we made sure that they were all paid and up to date. That gave us a bit of breathing room too. It meant that we weren't having to dip into the little bit of money we had in the bank to pay those bills, because we knew there'd be future bills coming. We just knew it. There always are. You know, it made us very aware, though, of what our bills actually were, how much things were costing us. I became very conscious of how much water we used. If lights were on with no one in the room, it was a big no-no. And I cut our phone calls down to 2 a week, one to my mother, one to my mother-in-law. One lived in Melbourne, one lived in Sydney. Because in those days, just about every call we made was STD, and that cost a lot of money. And that was money we didn't have to spend on phone calls. So no phone calls. People could ring us, but I did not ring anybody unless it was an absolute emergency. We went out twice a week. We went one day to playgroup and the other day was to church. Once a month, I'd go to CWA, and on that day, I'd go into town to do the monthly grocery shop. While I was out, I'd fill the car with petrol and I went to the fuel depot because it was cheaper than buying fuel in town. There were no Flybys or Woolworths dockets in those days. They just didn't exist. Mind you, I thought if I paid 50 cents a litre for fuel, thinking of what we were just talking about, it was expensive. Anyway, the fourth thing we did was take whatever casual work we could get when we were offered it. Didn't matter whether it was in our field. Work was work. And as long as it was honest work and it paid us, we took it. Wayne picked potatoes. He picked tomatoes. He picked strawberries. He ploughed paddocks. He rolled roads for the local council as a contractor. He took the midwinter early morning feed shifts at the local feedlot, even though it was below freezing and nobody else wanted to do it. He did them. I ironed, and I don't like ironing. I updated my credentials and went back to teaching creative tapestry classes. I did it at home of an evening after the boys were in bed. That was the only time I had, because otherwise I was busy doing other things with my babies, and I was pregnant. We sold everything we weren't using or didn't need. We had garage sale after garage sale after garage sale. It was great for decluttering. We sold our good car and we bought a bomb. It was a roadworthy bomb, but it was a bomb. We used the difference to help us survive. In that time, we left town twice a year. We go once to visit my family, once to visit Wayne's family. They were our holidays. All it cost us was our fuel. And even then, it didn't really cost us fuel because Mum would slip me some money, Wayne's mum would slip me some money to pay for the petrol, as they did. And believe me, I was grateful for it, because it just gave us a bit of breathing room. But that was our twice a year, that was our get out of town and get away from the stress trips. Our life changed drastically when the money ran out, because eventually our savings did run out. I mean, there's only, you can only stretch them for so long. Thankfully, that's about the time the casual work started coming in. It was never a lot to make us rich. It was always just enough to pay the whatever bill it was or to buy food. It was never an excess. It was always just enough, but we didn't need any more than enough. As long as we could pay the bills, pay the mortgage, put food on the table, finish our renovations because we had half a house, that was all we really needed. So if your money stops, if you woke up tomorrow and there was no money, you had, even if you've got money in the bank and you couldn't get to it, there are some things you can do that will help you survive. Now, the stop spending, well, that's a no-brainer, especially if you don't have any cash. Some folks stress spend, and if that's you, you really need to be aware of that and find something else to do when stress hits. Go for a walk, take up crochet, read a book, plant a tomato, anything but spend money. Preferably you'll find something that's free. Go to the library and just sit in the library and listen to a video or something. Then plan how you're going to stretch the money you have to make it last. Because you can stretch it if you put your mind to it. Hopefully it won't be almost 4 years for you like it was for us. And this is where you need to be smart. You need to think outside the box. So I mentioned I became fussy about the water. So take the water. We all need it and we all use it. But we can always use less. So turn the tap off when you're brushing your teeth if you've got into the habit again of leaving it run. Or if you're washing vegetables, turn the tap off. Put 5 centimetres of clean water in a bowl and peel your veggies and use that water to wash them. Catch the warm-up water from showers and baths and doing your dishes. That is buckets full of water every day, especially if you have a family. Now that's clean, potable water. You can drink it. So if you can catch it in a clean bucket, put it in jugs in the fridge and use it to boil for your tea or coffee. Use it to cook your vegetables. Use it to make soup. Or at the very least, tip it into the washing machine and then use the recycle the rinse water to wash the next load. When you're finished, pump the final rinse of the final wash onto the lawn. I've been doing that for years. Even during the drought, we had that long drought and such severe water restrictions, we had green lawns. Now, we don't have a lot of lawn, but our lawns were green because we had it hooked up so that the final rinse water of the final wash load always got pumped out onto the lawn. I would be out there every morning and I would move the hose from spot to spot. We'd do one day at the back, next the front, swap them around. You need to put some effort in. It won't just happen. These things require your input, your energy. And that's something else, because the more you're doing to move forward and be positive, the less chance you have of actually becoming depressed about it. Yes, you'll probably still be concerned, but you'll be gaining ground. You'll be doing something and doing something proactive and positive. So you're less likely to suffer from depression if you do that. So you'll need to put some effort in. Don't moan about it, especially if you're going to, recycle your wash water and put it on the lawn. You're not beating your washing on a rock. You've got a washing machine to do it. So you figure out how you can save water. And if you can save the water, if not use as much, your bill is going to be a bit less. So that's one bill that you've been able to trim. When it comes in, hopefully you'll have the money to pay it. The other thing you need to become very, very good at is using everything. Use everything you have. Don't waste a thing. Before you put food in the compost, think about other ways to create meals or snacks from it. When you peel the potatoes, scrub them first and then save the peels. and crisp them up in the oven to make potato chips. It sounds terrible. They actually taste great. If you sprinkle them with salt and with some smoky paprika, and if you like them spicy, a little chili powder over the top, or garlic, salt, onion powder, whatever seasonings you like, drizzle them with a bit of olive oil, bake them in the oven until they're crispy. They're actually delicious. And there used to be a big hotel here in Melbourne that used to sell them. They called them Hot Lips. They would sell potato skins like that, just like that, in a bowl with a dollop of sour cream and some spring onions on the top. And they were expensive. They were, even, 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago, they were about $5 a bowl then. They were expensive. Everyone thought they were the neatest thing since sliced bread. They were just potato skins, literally potato skins. So think about other ways that you can keep using all of something. If you buy apples and you buy apple cider vinegar, you can cross the ACV off your shopping list. You can use the peel and the cores from your apples to make cider vinegar. It's actually a really simple process. The instructions are in the Members Centre. I can link to them if you need them. But it's a really simple process. It means that you're getting everything you can out of what you have, that you are actually getting your money's worth and possibly a bit more from what you have. So don't waste anything. And cheapskates are pretty good at not wasting anything. But when the money stops, when the money runs out, you have to become even more frugal than you are now. Another thing we did was take that bank balance and we worked a new budget around it. We cut out everything that wasn't essential or absolutely essential to life. No new clothes, no new toys, no ice cream. It was the hardest thing for Wayne. No ice cream. No, if it wasn't absolutely essential for life, we did not have it. I had $200 a month for groceries. That was for everything. And I had to buy a packet of I treated myself to a packet of disposable nappies and buy the baby's medicines from that $200 every month too. I knew down to the cent how much the shopping was going to cost. And if I got there and a price on something had gone up, I had to put it back and find a cheaper option because I did not have even 1 cent more to spend. When your money runs out, it is scary, but if you think about it and you think about what you can do, what you're going to do to get over it, make plans and work those plans. It's not quite so terrifying, and it's definitely not impossible. I'm sitting here in front of you and I can tell you it is not impossible. It is hard. It is absolutely hard. And there were times I will say there were times I did not like living like that. I did not like not being able to buy a new pair of jeans if I wanted them or even needed them. I did not like having to darn socks. I got better at it. Now my darns aren't like little lumpy rocky roads, but I didn't like having to do it, but I did it. In fact, I darned a couple of socks the other day for the boys. So it's become a habit now to do that. But when the money runs out, when there is no money, you take a breath and then you plan your future. It will be a different future. Now let me go back up here and I'm going to flip back. Oh gosh, we've got lots of comments. Yes, Barb, that's Lacey dog in the background. I'm dog sitting. Hannah's getting some yard work done and she didn't want Lacey getting in the way, so she's here for a couple of days. And she's missing Hannah too. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. There you go. Tegan has a extra income. She rents out trailers and chainsaws through Marketplace and Gumtree. Bring in what you can. All right. Hello, Sue. Oh gosh, this thing's going like crazy. Hello, Yvonne. Digital currency should make everyone nervous. Absolutely everyone. You notice who's not nervous? The people with all the money, or the people who control all the money. They're not nervous at all. They think it's a wonderful thing. Of course it is. Follow the money, guys. They're the ones that are getting rich out of it. She's actually behaving tonight, aren't you, Lacey? Being a good girl? Hey? Oh, puppy dog eyes. Keep stacking cash. Yes. One thing we didn't have when disaster struck and then finally when our money ran out, one thing we didn't have at the time was an emergency fund. If you don't have an emergency fund, start one. I don't care if you can only put $1 a week in it. Start an emergency fund. Every little bit helps. Every cent will help. And I suggest that perhaps having some cash on hand for situations like what happened last Thursday with ANZ Bank is a smart thing to do. I know we have a whole generation of people who never dealt with cash. They've never been paid in cash. They don't use cash because they don't get paid in cash, so they just use their card, they use their watch there these days or their phone. But cash is essential. Now, there was an interesting thing. I caught a glimpse of it just before on the news. And it was really interesting in that it was saying, you know, even the banks were saying that cash is king. And if there's an enormous outage, software fail, call it what you want to, and nobody can access their money, having cash is going to be, your cash will be more valuable. It will be worth more. You will be able to do more with it, which was really interesting because last week we were talking about gold and the value of gold has fallen again. Your gold today isn't worth what it was yesterday. Interesting. So build a cash stash. Now, I would never suggest to anyone that you keep thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in your home. I'm not suggesting that at all. But having some cash on hand to get you out of a crisis is a sensible thing to do. I bet there's lots of Australians who are wishing they had some cash to be able to finish their shopping last Friday or pay for their fuel or their chemist bill or their cafe coffee. So a little cash, how much is entirely up to you. I'm not going to even try and tell anyone how much cash they should have on hand. That's up to you. You know what you can deal with. But certainly don't not have any cash on hand. The other thing is, all those people only had one bank account with one bank. They were stuck because they couldn't go, oh, ANZ's down, so I'll just zip across to CommBank or Suncorp or Bendigo or whoever, because they had all their money in one bank. So the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket, don't put all your money in one bank. Give yourself some options. I think that's just sensible. I think that's smart. You wouldn't have, if you're an investor, you wouldn't invest all your money in the one company. You spread the load, you spread the risk. Do that with your savings too. One person's life journey. Last Friday afternoon, started about 1:30. Hang on, I can tell you exactly. I've got it up here. 1:37 p.m. Most systems were back online by 5 p.m. So that's 4 hours was down. 4 hours people couldn't pay for things. Oh, that's interesting, Estelle. A few petrol stations I avoid because they don't take cash. I saw that, Delaney. Yes, I've got that up here too. Aldi switching to digital price tags on the shelves. That was really interesting. I'll put the link to the article, or it's actually on Cheapskates Chatter. So if you go to Cheapskates Chatter, you'll find the link to it. And Delaney posted the link to the article. But well, it puts someone out of work, like you mentioned. It's a very controlling. It's really interesting, isn't it? Because this has been sold to us over so many years, little by little, as a really good thing. It's a really good thing. It's going to, you don't have to worry about, don't need to carry, don't even have to carry a card anymore. Just hold up your watch or your phone. Everybody's got a smartphone. No, not everybody has a smartphone. So you just have to hold it up and bingo, you've paid for something. That's just wonderful. So convenient until it's not. All right, till the money runs out, or you can't get the money that you're supposed to have. Estelle, they're well aware of what I'm absolutely certain that they are aware, the bigwigs in banking, our government, all know what a disaster it is for you and me, for ordinary citizens, when something like that happens. But it doesn't hurt them. It doesn't hurt them personally. They're not struggling to, go, oh no, I can't pay for my petrol I've just pumped into my car or whatever. They're not, government's not worried about it. Didn't happen, tomorrow's not an election. So by the time an election comes around, people are going to forget. We've all got short memories. If anything, the last few months after the last couple of years have proved the world has a short memory. People have very short memories. So they know. They're well aware. Of course they are. They just don't care because it's not hurting them. And it won't change until it hurts them, until they feel it in their hip pockets. I keep saying follow the money. So if you follow the money trail and see who's making the money from it, who's benefiting from anything, then figure out how it's going to hurt them, then you'll understand why they don't care, because it doesn't hurt them. Facebook groups like Cash is King and others have had major uptake on their members. Jack. Okay, so I've read the Jack Ryan books. The doctor, I can't remember the title. I was reading about 20 years ago. Now I have to think about that, Joy. Someone might know. Cash is king. Look, honestly, people, that's great, Colleen. I know during the time when cash was, don't use cash, it's dirty, you'll get germs. We only take credit payments or card payments. Our little bakery had a big sign up, we still take cash. And our local donut shop, same deal, we still take cash. And so many people paid in cash. I always pay in cash. I pay as much as I can in cash. No, Mary, we didn't get unemployment. If you go back, the link to our story is there, and you'll understand why. One Second After is an awful book. Sorry, Kathleen. I haven't heard about, well, Woolies have the extra rewards, which is $7 a month or $70 a year. And there are extra benefits to it. I noticed I was doing a scout shop last Friday with Hannah, and I noticed some Woolly things are marked members reward, which means that if you did whatever, you got that particular thing was you bought two, you saved $2.50 or something off the price. So Woolworths, in a way, have done that with the extra rewards. I don't know about Coles. I haven't heard anything come from Coles yet. But I really try to avoid anything that tracks what I buy, when I buy it, how much I buy, the brands I buy, how I pay for it, which is always cash. So I really try to avoid those things, but I have tried the extra rewards, and you can make it work for you if you are prepared to give up a lot of personal information. Hello, Kathy. Executive orders. Okay, thanks, Joy. How much dollars would you suggest per person? Whatever you can afford. We have a budget for birthdays and Christmases for the year. I divide it between the 5 of us. Okay, no, I have 2. I have my immediate family, so Wayne and I and the 3 kids. We have our birthday, Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day budget. And then I have my other budget for other gifts. Now, this year I've done a handmade Christmas, and it's almost completely done, I've only got a couple more things to do, and I am done with Christmas this year. And I've even actually done a few things for next year. So that's a bit exciting. I'm so excited. So excited. I'm so far ahead of myself. Pat my own back. But so my budget, and I did a handmade Christmas. So I was trying to do a totally handmade Christmas. So the only things I've bought are the stocking stuffer things. Now I buy stems from when our children were small, and I would not buy the fancy cereals. So they get the Kellogg's variety, the fun pack, the one with the Cocoa Pops and the Fruit Loops and cornflakes. But there's the variety pack, and there's the old people's Get Healthy pack. They like the fun one with the Fruit Loops and Cocoa Pops. So I get 4 of those because I put one in Wayne's stocking too. 4 of those, and then I usually get them a share pack of whatever their favorite chocolate is. Crunchy for Hannah, that sort of thing, cherry ripes for Wayne, that sort of thing, and they're gold coins. So far, that's all I've had to buy for Christmas presents. I haven't bought any cards. I don't normally buy cards. I make them. I do send them. I make them. So I allowed $10 per person on my list for incidentals, for things like I might have had to buy buttons. If I didn't have buttons, I haven't had to buy buttons, thank goodness. Or elastic. I had to buy elastic last week. Boy, is elastic expensive. I haven't bought elastic for 4 years, 5 years. I bought a big spool of it on sale, and I was a bit shocked at the price of elastic. So I had to buy elastic. So I did that. But it depends on whether you do big presents or whether you do small presents, whether you're prepared to, whether they're new, as in bought new, or whether you look for something that's gently used or pre-loved, that you know, if you find the perfect thing in an op shop and you know it's exactly what someone wants or would love, do you walk past it because it's in an op shop? I don't. If I know it's something someone would love, then yes, I will get it. It's entirely up to you, and your budget for Christmas presents depends on how many people are on your list. Do you do a Kris Kringle where you buy for the family, or do you just buy for the little ones in the family? Do you cut them off at 18 or 21 or whatever? Do you just buy for grandma and grandpa and the babies? It's entirely up to you. People go overboard, and I think most people go overboard because they don't plan enough. Now, we've started the Own Your Christmas Challenge. Good promo for that. We started the Own Your Christmas Challenge, started on Sunday, and you can sign up over on our website for it, so that you've got time to get organised, get your gifts organised within whatever budget you decide, because you know what you can afford. I'm waffling a bit, I know. I'm trying to get across that there is no one figure that suits everybody. Just as there's no one gift that suits everybody, there's no one figure that suits everybody. So, for instance, if I was doing a handmade gift, but it was a quilt, it would cost a lot more than even buying one, because you can buy quilts quite cheap from department stores, and some of them are really pretty. Admittedly, they're not handmade, but they are quite pretty for the price. So it's a hard thing to say. And if you shop all year, put things away all year, if you craft all year. I know one year I lucked out and I did plants. I found a whole heap of pots, really, really cheap. And by the time I actually bought seedlings from the nursery, put the seedlings in the pots, got them established, handed them over, and I think that was something like $3.40 per gift. But they looked amazing, and the pots were gorgeous. So it just depends. I don't know. Someone else might have an idea for you, a better idea. I don't like to put prices. I don't like to put limits. I get called out every time I do. Just the other day, I was called a liar because my prices were out of date. Mind you, the article that was quoted was 4 years old. So yes, prices were out of date. And I redid the prices for the person that was calling me a liar, and it had gone up 57 cents. So I don't like putting prices and limits on things. It's a bit like saying, how much should you spend on a house? What you can afford. No more. Absolutely no more. And probably a bit less than you can afford. It still warms up the water. Yeah, I don't want to wash. I've many's the time. I remember I had 2 in nappies and the washing machine broke and I couldn't get anyone out to fix it for about a week. Yes, Selena, potato skins are good. Greg Evans tries to make everything have 2 uses, at least 2. Yes, cut your coat according to your cloth. That's a very old saying. Be flexible, folks. Be flexible. All right. Packaging is always good to think of extra uses for. Estelle says, I saw the most beautiful basket today on YouTube, and it was made out of an old cardboard box that was cut apart and then covered with fabric and put back together, and they used sailor's rope, is that what it's called? It was gorgeous. I thought, and I was sitting there watching and going, I can do that. It was so pretty. So yes, you can think of lots of ways to reuse packaging. Krista, yes, people were thinner and fitter. Does anyone follow the Living on World War II rations? I know Joy does. I think Maureen does too. Thinking back, I don't know the diet was particularly healthy in terms of what was allowed in the ration book, but no one was overweight. They still had the energy to work, but no one was overweight. Powdered milk, yep. Good on you, Sheena. Enjoy your cruise. That is just lovely. Okay. Yeah. Did you see the photo of the rhubarb? Did I put a photo up of the rhubarb? Because it started growing again. It's really, really good. I don't know where she is. It's always a bad. Oh no, she's just lying on the floor there. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it depends. Estelle says, I wish there were non-dodgy jobs that still paid cash. Okay. Here's the thing. It's only a dodgy job that pays cash if you don't do your part. If you get paid in cash, and it's up to you to record it and report it. Africa dumped digital currency. Oh, excellent. Oh, Joy's just gone. I've just gone World War II rationing. I'm a bit slow. Sorry, guys. Anyway. Yes, that's a good point, Joy. I think it's up to 200,000. Is that right? I might be wrong. And you know, the thing that worries me about that is, yes, it's government guaranteed as long as the government's got the money. As long as the government's got the money. Now, we had a builder here in Victoria go into receivership Friday. People went to work. Bye-bye. If you go, don't need you anymore. That's very sad. That's going to become, I think, more and more common. Here we go. Yvonne's posted the Facebook groups for anyone that missed it. Cash is king, cash accepted, keep cash alive. Yeah, convenience is a great way of destroying privacy and independence. Sorry, Jane. Well, you know, I'm a bit like Bluey then. I'm a bit technologically incompetent. I don't like technology. Don't like technology at all. Okay, it's 8:31. Let me just finish up and then we can keep chatting if you really want to. My point tonight is when the money runs out, you need to have a plan in place. So if your money hasn't run out yet, maybe take some time this weekend to figure out what that plan will be for you. How will you survive? How will you, if you suddenly are in the middle of paying for your groceries one Friday afternoon and they go, sorry, your bank's down, I can't accept your card. Figure out what you're going to do. Are you going to have to go, well, that's it, I'll have to leave the groceries? Or will you say, no problem, here's the cash. You should be paying for your groceries in cash anyway. That's a whole other story. But anyway, pay for your groceries in cash. Think about what you're going to do. Put a plan in place. Talk about with your spouse, partner, significant other, your children, whatever, what you will do. Will you get some cash and have a cash buffer? Know where it's kept. Not everyone needs to know where it's kept. And it doesn't have to be, like I said, I'm not telling anyone to save thousands and thousands, but have enough to pay for the groceries and a tank of fuel and the medicine at the chemist, whatever, if you cannot access your money. I personally think that these little outages that we've had a run of them the last few months with different banks, they're tests. They're tests to see how people will react. There was, a bit of a, well, I'm not very happy about it, but there was no rioting in the streets. The laid-back Australian, sometimes we're a bit too laid back. We need to protest these things. Protest it. Good way to protest it, move banks. That's just one way. But have a plan so that when the money runs out, you know, well, we've got a pantry and we can live for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 20 years off our pantry, so we don't need to worry about food. I've got fabric and yarn so I can make our clothes. That's no problem. Seeds to grow vegetables. So we just really need the money to pay for the gas, the electricity, the water, insurances, the things that you must, that you can't avoid, those things. Have a plan in place so you know what to do, and develop other skills so that, if you need to go mow lawns, you can mow lawns. If you need to take an ironing, you can take an ironing. If you need to practice baking bread, bake bread. Selling muffins, sell muffins. Have I got something coming up for you guys? It will blow your minds. Blew my mind. Something to do with muffins. Oh my goodness. Game changer, and just in time for Christmas too. Oh, next week. It's coming out next week. So good. Sorry, just talk about muffins made me think of it. Now you've got to wait till next week. Sorry, guys. But those sorts of things, have a plan in place and know what you're going to do. Okay, because when the money runs out, you need to know what you've got, because do you need to barter? Can you barter? Do you have excess of anything to barter? We sold off our excess at garage sales, which brought in cash that helped us through. But perhaps you are able to trade or barter, be it a skill or an item. Learn, think about those things, make a plan. All right. Now, I've enjoyed talking to you. I am happy to keep this going, and I will, but I'm going to say good night to anyone that needs to leave or wishes to leave. Thank you so much for joining me. Don't forget, if you are not already subscribed, I would be honoured if you would click that subscribe button and then the little bell next to it, and choose how often you want to be notified of a new video. I've been a bit slack on the videos the last couple of months, actually, but I am starting to feel better. I'm starting to get more on top of things. I'm nearly finished with Christmas, so the videos will be back on track really soon, I hope. And if you know someone who might like this video and might like to know more about the Cheapskates Club, there's a share link. Feel free to send. You can do like, share, subscribe. Really help our channel grow and make it easier to find. And the easier it is for people to find us, the easier it is for us to spread the message that it's perfectly okay to live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. And it is possible even in 2023. Okay, thank you for joining me. Now, we'll just keep going. I'll just keep reading these comments, shall I, guys? Because I'm way behind. You're all talking faster than me. I'm trying to think, talk and read at the same time. You're not wrong. And this on my screen, the chat scrolls. So if I don't hold my finger on the button, it goes really fast. One person's life journey has already started Christmas shopping. Perfect. Coming up with presents isn't difficult. Think about, okay, coming up with presents, not difficult at all. You've got the person. What do they like? What do they do? What's their favourite colour, their favourite food, their favourite flower or plant? There's plenty of things. Coming up with presents isn't difficult. I don't find coming up with presents difficult. I like to give presents that suit the person, that I know that they like. There we go. Joy's got, for those in Western Melbourne, Heinz factory outlet called The Pantry in Altona Meadows. That's good. Well done, Cheryl. It is fun. I absolutely love Christmas. I love Christmas. I could go over the top quite easily with Christmas. Absolutely love it. My mum loved it. My aunties love it. It's in the blood. We just love Christmas. Wayne's mum adored Christmas. I think it was her favorite time of year. So I absolutely, as I can, tick things off and know they're done, so that my goal is to get to Christmas Eve or get to the 23rd of December and go, I'm going to sit back and relax and enjoy this celebration with my family and friends, knowing that everything is done. So I just love being organised enough to do that. I use the planners that everyone else uses. I print them out and I put them in a book. It's so much fun, so much fun. A lot of it I do all year round. Like this year with the Handmade Christmas Challenge, I've been going non-stop with things for Christmas, but it's fun. I absolutely love it. So I'm really pleased. I'm really pleased that it's fun. I used to have a directory of discount outlets for every state, but it was just too hard literally too hard to keep updating, because sometimes what would, you'd go 1 week and they'd be really good and cheap. Well, sometimes, and we know they start out as good outlets and then they change and change and change. It's a bit like SPC. It was a great outlet. It's not that great anymore. Little things like that. Sorry, my back's going to cramp up on me. Little things like that. So I don't do it anymore. If you Google them, there's heaps, but they have the same issue, keeping them up to date and current. And of course, if it wasn't current, people would complain because it wasn't current. I'm just going to have some of my tea. I like that idea. Krista gives out food shopping vouchers and the kids get prezzies. I like that idea, Krista. I like that idea. It's a nice variation on gift cards. Oops, there we go. I took my finger off and now I've lost it again. See, one person's life journey, Secret Santa with a max of $20 on each person for a personal gift. That's a nice idea. What sort of foods do they like, Estelle? One year Hannah did different salts. She did mushrooms. She did a red wine one. She did all different flavored salts and gave them to a friend who loves to cook. Cooks lots of meat and roasts and things like that. And he thought that was the best thing. Now, she got a whole stack of little jars from Kmart and a big thing of table salt, cooking salt, a big thing of cooking salt, a big kilo of cooking salt, and then just flavored them with whatever. And she put little printed labels out and put them on, and they were really, really good. But if they like Mexican, if they do tacos and things all the time, give them taco seasoning. Get a big jar, 500 ml jar, and fill it up with taco seasoning. Or even a 250 ml jar and fill it up with taco seasoning, and then put some taco shells or similar together with it for them to use. You could bake for them. Do they like baking? Okay. How long is a piece of string? Yeah. I love no bake. You can do White Christmas. You can do fudge. There's the Ferrero Rocher knockoffs. There's Russian caramels. And if you do the ginger version of Russian caramels, oh my goodness, it is so, so good. I think Russian caramels were the first sweet I learned to make. I was only about 11 or 12. And a neighbour that I used to play with and her mum gave us a tin of condensed milk and some butter and a recipe and said, go for your lives. And we had a ball making it, and I've been making it ever since. That's a long time I've been making Russian caramels. The recipe I use now is out of my mother's gas and fuel book. I think for Christmas, Annabelle does beautiful coconut ice and wraps it up, and it just looks stunning. If you go to the Bluebirds and Nesting blog and type in coconut ice, you'll see it's just gorgeous. It looks beautiful. And often with those things, the packaging, the presentation is the most exciting part of the gift. Um, the rhubarb photo. Oh, it's on Home Among the Gum Trees, Trina, under the Make It Monday. Under the Make It Monday post on the blog. Here we go. Still, governments don't have money. They're all deep in debt. Exactly why I'm worried about the guarantee. It's only as good as what they're prepared to do. Yep. Oh, yeah, no, Selena, that wouldn't work. Thanks, Annabelle. 250,000 banks must not be related to one another. So that means if you use CommBank, you can't use Bank West because they are related. I am assuming. I need to check that out. Groceries and a tank of fuel. Well, a tank of fuel, if it's $2 a litre and you put in 80 litres, that's $160 just there. So you would need more, probably, depending on your groceries. Yeah, good point. Cash needs to be in small denominations. 5s, 10s, 20s, 1s and 2s. Some silver, if you can. Did anyone go looking for old coins last week after we were talking about them? What will happen if we have power outages for weeks? Well, we've talked about this in the past, haven't we? We haven't talked about it so much from the cash point of view as from the, oh my goodness, the freezer's going to thaw point of view. And, you know, using gas to cook and things like that, how we would heat hot water, that sort of thing. It's when you need a cash stash. You need a cash stash. It's when, you know, we covered this a bit when I was talking about gold not being worth much. Your cash, you will need currency to be able to trade. You may be able to barter on a local level, I would think, but on a more widespread level, like out of your immediate community or within your immediate community, you should be able to barter. So you should be able to trade tomatoes for face washes or whatever it is without too much trouble. Socks for seeds or something similar. Moving from your immediate community to your neighbouring communities, the bartering would probably still work within limits, depending on, you're right, Lacey. Oh, so she wants to go into Thomas. Within limits, but if you can have cash, especially if people don't realise that the outage is going to last for weeks. I know that sounds, is that deceptive? I have to think about this. This might be deceptive. If we've got cash now, if you're smart and you think, you know, if it's an EMP, for example, wipes everything out. Even I know that's a long-term thing. That's not going to be a quick fix. That is a long-term thing. are there people out there who will think that they'll take your cash because they don't need your beans? They'd rather have cash because when the power comes back on, they'll have the money and you won't, which is a bit of the way people with precious metals think. Or, I don't know, now I need to ponder that. Gosh, talk about take me off on a tangent. Now I'm going to have to think about that all night. So it's really interesting. But yeah, you need to become adept at barter. You will need to have cash to trade. You will need a way to keep the lights on, keep the freezer going, however that works, whatever works for you in that case, be it a generator, if it's solar panels and an inverter, whatever, you need to work it out. If you're going to do those things, do them now. Do them now. The sooner you do them, the more secure you are. I saw a list. I shared it this afternoon. It was a list of 100 things that disappeared within days during the Sarajevo War. Now, how accurate it is, I do not know. But it did actually list things that we've talked about in the past that do make sense. These are things that will disappear quite quickly if there's no power. Because if there's no power, what are people going to do? Because they can't charge their phones, so they won't be able to play their games. They won't be able to text. Oh my goodness, it'll be just terrible. Because even if they've got solar chargers for their phones, if there's no power to run the towers, they're out. Communication's out. Power outages for weeks would be could very well bring about the end of life as we know it. Things would change. It would depend on how widespread it is too. In the event of an EMP, that would be fairly huge, I would imagine. It's not just going to be like, back a Burke. It's going to be huge. So it would be really interesting. What do you all think? What would happen if the power, how would you survive if the power went out for weeks? We've talked about this before. Estelle, cash is actually, there is less cash in circulation now than there was even 2 years ago. Cash is slowly being withdrawn from circulation. Yes, yep. Keep it small. 5s, 10s, 20s, 1s and 2s, some silver. But yeah, keep it small. Okay. Cash. Sorry, guys. Sorry. You like my cooking videos? That's good. I'm not a very good cook. Oh, you didn't say you liked my cooking videos. So, but I'm not a very good cook. The buffer. That's exactly right. It gives you breathing room. So the pantry tour I did gives us breathing room. The cleaning pantry, the bathroom pantry, the gift pantry, the clothes pantry. And yes, I have a I don't have a pantry, but we have backups of our clothes. Annabelle mentioned last week, she has a backup washing machine. That is a brilliant idea. Now I have a backup washing machine, but I have backup fry pans, saucepans. I have a backup electric mixer. and food processor. I have backup towels and linens, bed linens, on the shelf in my wardrobe, so that when what's in the linen cupboard gets beyond use, they come out and I will restock. I back up, but I actually have been backing up the backups on those things the last probably 2 years, just to have them in case, just in case. Now, they're useful things too, and they are things that could be used to barter if I absolutely ever had to. They could be used to barter, which would be really interesting and fun too, I think. Having backups is important. What about the announcement some banks no longer allowing withdraw cash from branches in the push for the CBDC? Yeah, change banks. Sorry, they're closing branches. They're removing ATMs. They've put a limit on cash withdrawals, or supermarkets put a limit on cash withdrawals and are tightening that up. Now, there's been a limit on cash withdrawals at supermarkets for quite a while, a long time. But it's making it harder and harder, and there's less cash in circulation, harder and harder to actually get your hands on cash. It's a really good control thing. It used to be control the food and control the people, control the food and the money, and you really control the people. And Annabelle's right, every bill you get ahead on is a buffer. Wow. Well, my basic cake mix is really simple. It's a cup of self-raising flour, cup of sugar, half a cup of milk, 2 eggs, 3 tablespoons of melted butter. If you want to make it muffins, you just beat it with a wooden spoon until it's just combined, like you do with your muffins, and that's just the plain. So then you can add chopped chips to it, you can add berries to it, you can add a blob of jam to it. I usually put vanilla in it. You can add cocoa, you can put coconut in it, whatever, and use that as muffins. But remember, if you want it to be muffins, it's with a wooden spoon until it's just combined. If you're going to make a cake out of it, beat it until it's nice and smooth, like a cake mix. That's my go-to, and it works every time, even when I throw in weird things. But, you know, you can throw in chopped chips, you can put in sultanas, you can throw in coconut is a favourite with my lot. Double choc, which is cocoa and chopped chips. Uh-oh, she's found a toy. Can you hear the squeaking? Lacey's found a toy. So it's really simple, really, really simple. It's on the website anyway. There's Joy's hampers. I've got a whole heap of hampers on the website. That's my next job to do, is the hampers, and then I'm finished. Joy's jam, chutney, biscuits, shortbread yo-yos, Viennese fingers. Joy makes all of those really, really well. A fruit cake, handmade chockies, like the pretend brochure. Yep. They're really good hampers. That's a great idea. That is a great idea, Jane. Jane's got if a person knows you make the gifts, like as in handmade Christmas, ask the person for some ideas as they come up with creative ideas. Joy's son has asked for a roll made from chicken feed bags for his Barbie tools for camping. That is brilliant. Oh my goodness. I'm stealing that. Sorry. I'll write this one down. This is going in the book. That is a great idea. Find my to-do list. Wow. Thanks, Jane. Ooh, that's something I can do for next year. Cool. That's a great idea. That is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Hi, Glennis. Banks are awful. Bunnings vouchers to revamp the new garden. Perfect. Good gift. Sheena, the little salts in the jars, they went over so well, and they didn't take her long to do either. Absolutely did not take her long to do them. I like the mushroom one. I really like the mushroom one. And she just powdered dried mushrooms and mixed it in with the salt. So good. It went really well with chicken. See, Jane's husband gets flavoured salts for Christmas. See? Not so. Hedgehog slice, yes. That's a nice idea, Amanda. A meal in a jar for curries and things, and like they do look pretty. They look special, and you can really pretty up your jars. I like to cut out of, on one side of me, I've got vinyl all laid out ready to go through the scan and cut, and on this side of me, I've got little piles of cards ready to be bundled up to go to various nursing homes and whatever. And I thought I had a scrap. Oh, no, I haven't got a scrap. The fabric. I've got a piece of fabric for a project. Cut jar toppers out of scraps of fabric that aren't really scraps. They're leftover bits of fabric, and I'd like to cut jar toppers out of them. Now I use the scan and cut to do that. I've got it saved on the machine, and if I've got a piece of fabric that's big enough, I just put it on the mat and run it through, and it cuts for me, because these old fingers stiffen up and I can't cut quite so accurately anymore with those. I love doing those. And you can get fabric from all over the place. If you're a sewer, you know that. But think of things like pillowcases that you don't use, new pillowcases that you don't use, or sheets, pretty sheets that have torn in a corner or something that you can't mend, so you're not going to use it. There's meters and meters of fabric in sheets. So they make great aprons, they make great pot holders, they make great curtains for lances, all sorts of things, but they make great jar toppers too. Little bits of out of bits of fabric. I love doing jar toppers, and they just make it just finishes it off. You know, I remember how excited everyone was when we noticed the jars of jam in the supermarkets, and the jars were actually beveled. Oh, such pretty jars. And then they came out with the checkered tops. Oh, such pretty jars with checkered tops. We're all excited. Well, it finishes it off. So your little jar topper, and you can do them out of paper, scrapbooking paper, or even wrapping paper. If you've got pretty Christmas wrapping paper, cut your jar topper for Christmas, cut your jar toppers out of those and tie them on with a coloured elastic band. They will look really lovely on your homemade jams and chutneys and pickles and salts and whatever. There's a government guarantee that if you have 250,000 or under in the bank and the bank goes belly up, the government will guarantee that that money for you. That deposit is safe. You won't lose it all. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. Yeah, Joy. Do you not think we're in the middle of another 1929 scenario? Has anyone been watching the keeping an eye on the stock exchange the last 3 weeks? It's just bizarre, absolutely bizarre. I know that the official verdict is no, and we're not even in a recession. Well, frankly, you know what? I don't want to call them stupid, but how daft do you have to be to not see how dire things are? With government trying to remove all gas, oil in terms of alternative power for homes, are they going to guarantee the power companies not having blackout? No, of course not. What makes me laugh, sorry, this makes me laugh. If you want to live in an all-electric home, that's entirely up to you. I have no issue with that. You're the one paying the bill. But they're going on and on and on about how much gas costs and the rising price of gas. And yes, it has gone up. So has electricity. What do these people think is going to happen when there is no alternative but electricity? It's a monopoly. It's a monopoly on what powers your home. It's a monopoly. There is no alternative. Therefore, the price is just going to go up and up and up and up. And we can't keep up with supply now. We certainly can't keep up with renewable supply. And in fact, it was announced a couple of weeks ago that we will never, ever, never, ever, ever be able to run on 100% renewables because we cannot produce enough consistently to enable that to happen. So I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I hate it. I like gas. I like gas for cooking. I like gas for my hot water. We have gas heating too. We don't use it very often, but we have it. So they're already predicting blackouts and brownouts for this summer. We know from reports from other cheapskaters that during this winter there have been, mostly in rural Victoria, some quite long blackouts. One went for a week. So they are going to become a fact of life. Our lifestyle is changing. We're sort of going backwards, guys. We're not moving forward. We're going backwards. Our lifestyle, our standard of living is definitely dropping, and our lifestyle is changing. We are going backwards. It's really quite concerning. $1,000 sounds like a reasonable amount. That's exactly right. No power is no phone. Joy has a treadle. I'm jealous. Yeah, it depends on without being sensationalist, without being scaremonger, without trying to terrify anyone, an EMP is a good scenario to practice on. Practice preparing. Now, when I say preparing, I don't mean go and dig a bunker in the backyard and store up, 35 years of wheat and, 200 years of bullets or anything like that. Prepare like we normally do, but think again, like we have, as we've talked about in the past. What would you do if the power's out for a day, for a week, for a month? What would you do? How would you cook? How would you preserve the food that is in your fridge and freezer now? How would you heat water? How would you do the washing? How would you get water into your house? Because chances are you won't have water either. So do you have a supply of drinking water put away? You may or may not think that's necessary. I will tell you there is a shortage of bottled water at the moment. You go looking, trying to buy bottled water, as in, litre bottles or the big 10-litre casks. They're hard to get. There's a shortage of bottled water. We're coming into summer, and I'm wondering why there's a shortage of bottled water. Those sorts of things, because, an EMP for months to as long as years. What would you do? How would you do? The thing I come back to all the time with that is shoes. I'm not particularly hard on shoes. I am hard on gumboots. I seem to go through a pair of gumboots every couple of years. I wear them all year round, just about when I'm out in the yard, especially if it's wet or if there's lots of ants around. I wear my gumboots. Otherwise, I've got my ordinary boots. But shoes. If you have little children, shoes. Do you stockpile various sizes in the hope that their little feet grow up a size at a time? Here's, lots of things to think about for that sort of thing. But an EMP is an event, if you want to practice, if you want to, in theory, you don't have to do it, actually, but if you want to practice in theory and think about what would I do if, an EMP is a good thing to use. It's not as scary as a war. It's not as scary as an invasion. It's not as terrifying as the complete destruction of society as we know it. So that's a good thing to practice on. Joy's got a backup mixer. She's got the mixing bowls, the wooden spoons, the whisk that was wedding presents. I don't have wooden spoons anymore. I cracked them. I have a good whisk. I have the bowls from Mum's mixer as well as the spare bowls for mine, or the bowls came with mine as spares. And I have some, I don't know how old they are. I have some very heavy crockery mixing bowls that were given to me from my auntie. They weigh a ton. I use them as fruit bowls because they're too heavy to hold. I have those, but I also have backups of things like the cheese grater. So I have a spare cheese grater put away. And what are you doing, Lacey? Get a bang. I've got a cheese grater put away and things like that. And I think, did I tell you a couple months ago, AJ was in the spare room and he came out and he said to me, Mum, if I get a pair of scissors in my Christmas stocking, I'm going to be really disappointed because I've got a pile of scissors stacked up there. But they were the kitchen scissors off the last Coles promotion on the Flybys, and they were only 10 points. And the lady said to me, you might as well use them. And I don't want to just try the scissors. So I got them, and they were really good. So I went back and got more. I thought that was really funny. And they will be good. If I ever need to barter, that's something I can barter with. I don't know. Is Karen on tonight? Karen, I haven't seen her. Karen does beautiful hampers. She's on Facebook. I'll put a link on Cheapskates Chatter for you, Tegan. She does gorgeous hampers. I'll put a link to it. It's 100 items. That was supposed to be the top 100 things that disappeared within the first 3 days of the Sarajevo war back in, and it had a whole list of things. There was logical things on it like matches and torches and food, and then lots of things that you didn't think about. So I'll put a link on Cheapskates Chatter to it for you. Yep, just add water sounds really good. Kylie. Joy's making quilted bags. Annabelle was making bags too. Ooh, Sri Lankan love cake every year. Oh, Joy, that sounds really nice. Okay. Oh, I can't help you with a 40 pound. What's that? About $100. You could probably, I don't know. I don't know. It would depend on whether it works, if it's in working order or not. And yeah, I don't know. My brother-in-law is a sewing machine mechanic, but he's in Sydney. He's not here, so I can't help you. My phone stopped working for the first time. Has it ever happened? I don't know. Do you breathe a sigh of relief when your phone stops ringing, or is it something to worry about? You, me, and Vicky, Joy. Vicky and I are going to have a hat parade. You can join us. Yes, Kylie. Ringmaster sends in the crowd to distract the audience, so do governments. Oh, is it raining at your house, Melburnians? It's pouring here. Can you hear it? Yes, I saw that Aradia, England, moving back their targets by 5 years. Well, I think they've done it because we do that now. We do that now. We've got an unelected, completely undemocratic, or two of them, two bodies, organisations dictating how we live. The World Economic Forum and the World Health Organization. They have no power over us. They have no say over us other than what our government lets them have. Nobody elected them. We didn't elect them. There was no election held here in Australia to vote anyone into those. They are two organisations that should be disbanded. or actually they should be criminalised, and the members put to trial. So yeah, we're already in we're on it, well on our way back there, Kylie. Absolutely. And I don't think it's a tinfoil hat thing so much as we can see the writing on the wall and we know it's going to happen. Yep, Annabelle, no fuel, no deliveries, no payments, no stores, no chemists, no nothing. If you can't look after yourself, you die. Simple. Because nobody nobody will be safe. Nobody will come to rescue you. So I'm reading the comments as I'm trying to answer a question. Oh my gosh. Okay. How long does bottled water last? If you buy it and you keep it cool and dark, it should be good for at least 12 months. It should be good for longer. If it's sealed, it should be good for longer. The issue is the containers are not stable. So if you're buying it in just the plastic, like the $3 pump bottles, that sort of plastic, although if you notice you buy the bigger bottles, the plastic is a lot thinner. It's not as good. And the white casks of water, same sort of deal, they break down very, very quickly. So keep them dark. Even if you have to throw a sheet over them or a towel over them or something, keep them dark. And they should be good almost indefinitely because they are sealed. If you can't keep them dark, try and use them within the 12 months, rotate through them, simply because the bottles will break down. And that means that if you are storing water, always store it on the bottom shelf, never up high where it can flood everything else on the shelf. Store it on the bottom shelf. Try and keep it up off the floor if you can, even if you just have to put down a layer of cardboard to rest it on. And yeah, keep it dark. Now, if you have if you pressure can and have empty canning jars, you want to fill your canner up, you've only got half a load of something to do, can water. Put water in the jars, put the flats and rings on, and can the water. It will be sterile, so that's a good thing. It will last until you open it, and it's not going to take up any more space to do it that way because you have to store the jars anyway. So that's always an option too if you are worried about storing water. Yeah, but unfortunately, bottled water, commercial bottled water, doesn't last long. If you can get the dark blue, really heavy plastic, you can buy them at Bunnings, home hardware places like that, water barrels, and fill those and seal them. They will keep longer, much, much longer for you. Having a supply of water on hand, it's not a silly thing to do. See, Yvonne says lots of power out in Adelaide at the moment due to storms last night. Gosh. Krista bought 2 hand mixers online. She's got most other things. One person's life journey. Speaking of mixers, I've been trying for near a year to save up for a KitchenAid. Only now after using the budget binders does it look like I will buy myself one for next year for Christmas. Woohoo! I have KitchenAid. I have a KitchenAid mixer. I have a KitchenAid food processor, kettle and toaster. The kettle and toaster are irrelevant. When I was looking for a new mixer, and I was shopping around, I wanted KitchenAid. And I was lucky enough to be able to buy it on sale. So it was still $570. But anyway. But I ended up with KitchenAid because we have a friend who is a professional cake decorator. She also bakes the cakes that she decorates. Now, she has traveled all over the world, and she judges cakes and things now. And she actually, when her husband got shifted to America for work, she went with him. She bought KitchenAid appliances in America, and she actually brought them back with her. This was quite a few years ago. Brought them all back with her when they came home and paid to get them converted for our power because they're so good. I stand by that. I love my KitchenAid mixer. It was very expensive. I imagine they are even more so now. But I love it because it does such a good job. I also love it because I have the pasta attachment. I have the sausage attachment. It makes life so much easier. And I've found out that there's actually a food processor attachment that goes on it as well, that for doing big things. So if I wanted to shred 5 cabbages, doing it in my ordinary food processor is great. It will do it, but it'll take longer. Whereas I can just go and straight into a bowl with this attachment. So I'm seriously thinking of saving up for that because that will make life so much easier. You won't regret buying KitchenAid, I don't think. And I love my food processor. So the mixer and food processor get used 3-4 times a week. I use them. The mixer is out all the time. I find that if it's out, I'm more inclined to use it. A food processor is just in the cupboard under the sink, and it goes beautifully. I love them. So they're very expensive. Mine's a workhorse and gets put through all sorts of things. Well, it does pizzas. It does the pizzas every Thursday for start. So thank you. Okay. Thank you. Cool. Glad you're prepared. Yes, if you can get a manual sewing machine that works, well, either hand cranked or treadle, go right ahead. They actually sew beautifully. They really, really do sew beautifully. And if you can master a treadle, you're homemade. I've read that book. Or read part of that book. It is horrendous, absolutely horrendous. It was a bit of an eye-opener. We also have a lot of the world, or a lot of the Western world, who hasn't lived through a war. We don't understand the horrors of war. I look at, you see pictures of Beirut or Jerusalem or anywhere like that on TV. Every time there's a bombing, you see it and you think, oh my goodness, that's just terrible. And with Ukraine at the moment, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, how stupid do people have to be to destroy there's got to be a better way than destroying everything. There just has to be. Yes, Annadelle, the UN. Government signed us up to things we don't want. Follow the money. Keep your preps private. Keep your preps private. I was watching a discussion about this today. Don't let the world know what you have. Keep your preps private. It's nobody's business but yours. Your pantry is your pantry. Don't tell people what you've got. Don't let anyone know. keep it as private as you can be. Now, we've all jokingly, and I know Joy's experienced this too, we've all jokingly had people that go, ha, 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 I've seen your pantry. With, you know, when the zombie apocalypse happens, I'm coming to your house. And I don't think so, guys. You're too stupid and too lazy to get up and start preparing. You can come to my house, but you'll work for it. I had to, so will you. I can't stress enough, guys, keep your preps private, because that's exactly right. In a grid down, most people will have everything taken from them, either by government intervention or by citizens rampaging, because they simply are not prepared. They just don't realize they don't want to be responsible. I don't know why, but yeah, just keep everything private. You know, don't spread it around. I did that pantry tour, and you all know how I agonized over that. So just keep things private. That might bring it up. I'll put it over on Cheapskates Chatter when we've finished. I'll put a link to it for you, Yvonne. Or I'll try and put it down below too. I'll have to look it up because I posted it and shared it with another group. Wow, that's really nifty, being able to distill water. Cool. Yep, Berkey. Berkey's in trouble though. Berkey was in trouble. Now, it had something to do with their filters. If you pressure can, Sheena, you're going to have empty jars. If you want to do a half load or something, it's always better to run a full canner. So do the water. Do the water. Yeah. Yeah, I love my KitchenAid, Annabelle. Hannah's using my Black & Decker that was an engagement present. Yep, 35 years ago. It was an engagement present, nearly 36 years ago. Hannah's using it now. It was amazing. Yeah. Sure does. Now, last weekend before, I made focaccia, just on a whim, just playing around, and I chucked some flour and whatever in, and I actually used the bread maker to do the dough. Turned out absolutely delicious. So last weekend, I put the flour and the yeast and the oil and water in and turned the bread maker onto the dough setting and totally forgot about it. Went back later, I can't be bothered making focaccia now. So I just lifted the whole thing out, put a bag over it, put it in the fridge, took it out on Sunday morning, let the dough warm up a bit, tipped it out onto my board and did my with the and then I crushed some garlic and pulled some rosemary off the sprigs and actually mixed that in the oil and drizzled it over the focaccia and baked it. Best bread I've ever had. I am going to put my dough in the fridge overnight all the time now. I am thinking that overnight bread dough, that is the way to go. It was the best bread I have ever had. Oh, it was just amazing. And the bread machine did all the work. It was so good. I'm glad. It's very late. What is it? Oh, 9:35. We have talked a long time, haven't we? Yeah. unfortunately, we live in a world of constant surveillance, whether we believe that or not. Nothing is private anymore. Everything is out there for anyone to find. It's just amazing, isn't it? I'm actually really enjoying making bread at the moment. I'm wondering if it's a fad. Hope not. All right. Well, we've come to the last. No, we haven't. People behaving horrendously in peacetime. Imagine what they'll have like when things go bad. It will be your next door neighbour will come for you. You may have been the best of friends, but they will come for you. I sort of understand if people are hungry. I have to say, I've never been that hungry. You know, I've been hungry, but I've never been starving. I have never been starving to the point where I've been emaciated, no energy. I've never not been able to feed my children something. And I know what I would have been prepared to do to get them food if I'd not been able to. So I can just see, especially living in suburbia, because our goal is to get out of town. Our goal is to get out of town and get out of town fast. When everything is instant and short supply, there's no stock in the supermarkets. It's, as it's used, it's replaced. Nothing is stockpiled anymore. So, and we see that straight away every time there's a cyclone. What happens in Cairns when the cyclone, supermarkets are emptied within hours. It happens all over the world when there's a natural disaster or something. Supermarkets emptied straight away within hours. They're gone. Everything's gone. There's no fuel in the fuel stations. Everything's gone. So we just I think society isn't set up to cope. People are not self-reliant anymore. They're not self-sufficient. They don't have the nous, the knowledge, the common sense to figure out how to look after themselves. Yep, look what happened with the toilet paper. People fighting in the aisles over a packet of toilet paper. Seriously, toilet paper. I can just imagine they're going to be fighting over beetroot soon. I better hide my supply. People go crazy because they panic. They don't know what to do, and anything that is going to be outside their norm, outside their regular routine, their little comfort zone, they just crumble. They cannot cope. They don't know what to do. I keep telling Wayne we have to buy somewhere where I can't see, hear, or smell the neighbours. So yes, I want to put me in the middle of 50,000 acres. I'm happy. I don't need to see, smell, or hear my neighbours. And that's exactly true too. Utilise the internet while we still have access, learn new skills, print off recipes and useful articles, etc. It's just a matter of time before much of what we take for granted is shut down. Which reminds me, I haven't got it ready, but I wanted to Do you all have an address book, an old-fashioned address book with the tabs A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H? Do you have an address book where you can write Kath, PO Box 5077, yada, 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 so that you have a physical copy of the names and addresses of just your immediate family, if that's all you think you would want to contact in an emergency, in a crisis, when there is no internet, when there is no telephone? Because we all rely so much on the address book in our phone, we can't access it. We don't know the phone numbers anymore. Nobody memorizes phone numbers anymore. How often do you forget your own phone number? Do you all have an address book that has that information in it? Do you all have somewhere written down your bank accounts, your insurance policy numbers, car registration information, all that, actually hard copies of it written down somewhere that you can keep safe, but you can get to when you need it? It's not a silly thing to have. I'm a pen and paper person. I like my pen and paper. I keep notes. I write things down. Now, I use OneNote on my laptop, but I usually end up either copying it into my book or printing it. So I've got hard copies of it, because the internet doesn't exist. It's virtual. It doesn't exist. If it goes down, it goes down. It's gone. Now, someone's going to say, oh, well, if you dig deep far enough, blah, 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 you can find it, and you've got to go back through and yeah. Maybe, but if the internet isn't there, you can't do that. So the internet doesn't exist. It is virtual. It's like the cloud. It's like keeping your information in the cloud. Stupid idea. Really, really stupid idea. Really, really, really stupid idea to keep anything in the cloud. So, yeah, all right. I know, it's hilarious. Well, I went out with Hannah on Thursday night. Yeah, she came Thursday, and Friday was the holiday. And it was like, and the shops weren't even closed. That's the hilarious thing. It was just a weekend shopping hours, so 10 till 5, not 8 till 8 or whatever. Oh my goodness. You would have thought it was the end of the world. Absolutely would have thought it was the end of the world. It was hilarious. Just crazy. All right, guys. Well, we are now at 9:43. That's a long time. We've still got 69 people watching. Thank you so much. If I got 69 thumbs up, that would be lovely. It would be really good. 69 thumbs up. Not that I'm pushing you or anything. I think it might be time for bed, don't you? No more questions, no more comments. Everyone's finished. We're all talked out. Have you all enjoyed this format so that we could keep talking? I don't mind. Keep talking at all. Happy to do it. Has everyone enjoyed it? Let me know. Or have I dropped off? No? Still here. Kylie loved it. Night Jane, you liked it? Good. Okay, Tegan, yes. Cool. All right. Well, in that case, if you're all happy to keep it like this, we'll just keep it like this until we don't anymore. Hopefully, there will be no EMP or major disruption to our power or anything. And I will be back next Tuesday night with another live show. I'll have to think of something to talk about now. We'll get there. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. Remember, like, subscribe, share. They do help. Those three things really help our channel grow. And like I said before, when we're easy to find, we can spread the message. We don't have to be, we don't have to live life in debt. We can live life debt-free, cashed up and laughing. Alrighty. See you all next week. Until then, happy cheapskating, guys. And thank you for spending your time with me tonight.